Welcome to day 14 of the 30-day holiday video challenge. Today, we're making pumpkin maple nut scones. Hi there, foodie friends. My name is Carly, and welcome to my channel, Adventures in Yum. Before we get into today's video, I have a passion for learning about creating and trying new foods, drinks, and especially desserts. If you want to join me on my yummy adventures, and especially during this challenge, then please make sure to hit subscribe and turn on notifications so that you'll know when I upload new videos every week. Now, let's dive into today's video. First, to a large mixing bowl with 2.5 cups or 350 grams of all-purpose flour, we add a half a cup or 100 grams of granulated sugar, a quarter cup or 50 grams of brown sugar, 1 tablespoon of baking powder, half a teaspoon of baking soda, 1 teaspoon of salt, and 1 teaspoon of cinnamon. We give this a quick whisk and set it aside for now. Next, we're grating 1 stick or half a cup or 110 grams of frozen butter onto a plate. Once we're done, we add the butter into the dry ingredients and gently toss it around to make sure that all of the butter gets coated in the flour mixture. We break apart any large butter clumps so that the butter is more evenly dispersed. We then place this mixture into the freezer for at least 10 minutes to ensure that the butter remains very cold. Making these scones is extremely similar to how I made my caramel apple pie scones, which are so delicious. I'll link that video in this video and in the description. After removing the bowl from the freezer, we add 1.5 cups or about 376 grams of canned pumpkin puree and mix until the dough just starts to come together. Next, we add 1 cup or about 120 grams of chopped pecan pieces and mix into the dough. We then sprinkle a little bit of all-purpose flour onto our work surface and add the dough. We then sprinkle a little bit more flour on top, and at first I tried using my hands to flatten the dough, but using a rolling pin worked out a lot better. Once it's rolled out to about 1/4 or 1/2 inch in thickness, we use a pumpkin-shaped cookie cutter to cut our scones. We also take the dough scraps and re-roll it for even more scones. We place these on a parchment paper lined baking sheet, and we're baking them at 400 degrees Fahrenheit or 204 degrees Celsius for approximately 12 to 15 minutes. Once they've come out of the oven, we let them cool for at least 5 to 10 minutes before we glaze them. Before we whip up the maple glaze, if you're getting value out of this video, then please make sure to hit that like button, click subscribe, and ring that bell to be notified about my latest video. To make this maple glaze, to 3/4 cup or about 97 grams of powdered sugar, we add about 1/4 teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of maple extract, 3 tablespoons of maple syrup, and about 1.5 tablespoons of heavy cream. You can definitely play around with this maple glaze recipe. As you can see here, that's exactly what I did to come up with this particular recipe that I was happy with. This glaze is on the thinner side, so if you'd like a thicker glaze, add less heavy cream. Also, just as a side note, I highly recommend using a combination of maple extract and maple syrup, like I did here when making things like maple glaze, maple buttercream, and maple cake. It just gives it a much better flavor. After the scones have cooled for a while, we're smothering them in that delicious maple glaze. So for a quick fun fact about the idea behind this recipe, it's inspired by a combination of Starbucks' Maple Nut Scones that they discontinued years ago and their pumpkin scones that I just wish were better than they actually are. I figured that putting these two scones into one glorious combination would be delicious, and they did not disappoint. This scone recipe was thoroughly enjoyed by my taste testers, so I was quite excited to share this one with you as well. If you make this or any of my recipes, I would absolutely love to know how you enjoy them. You can also find these scones on my website, adventuresinyum.net. The link is in the description below. Make sure to come back tomorrow for day 15, where we'll be making a really fun apple cake. If you're interested in checking out some of the products I used in this video, then please make sure to check out the video description below for their Amazon links. Thank you so much for joining me today, foodie friends. I'll see you next time for another yummy adventure.